Well, the situation in the beginning is that the Nancy and Alan Cowan have a son, Zachary, and he is 11, and Penelope and Michael Longstreet have a son, Ethan, who is also 11, and the two boys have had a fight in the playground, and my son has hit their son with a stick and broken two of his teeth. So they are coming together. They have been in Nancy and Alan, my character and Christoph's character. We have been invited to the Longstreet's house to just try and talk this through, to try and figure out a way to get the boys to patch this up, and to just resolve it, come to some level of resolve. But everyone approaches it with a very different opinion, with a very different attitude, and all hell breaks loose. And before you know it, it becomes nothing to do with the boys and their fight, but entirely to do with these two different marriages and the cracks that lie between them. I always love rehearsal. It's always such a pleasure to be able to have. It's such a luxury. Some actors don't like rehearsal very much, but I felt very strongly coming into this that, oh yeah, I'm sure we'll probably rehearse everything. But I didn't realize, I think none of us could have counted on this thing that Roman did, which was to have us all learn the script from start to finish, the entire movie script, like a play. And we staged the whole thing. And I was personally really thrilled that we did that, because it means that when we get onto the set, we all know exactly what our physical positions are. And not only is that helpful to us in terms of where we're at within the story, but it's helpful to Roman because he can structure how he's going to shoot it. And to have had that time together as well, that kind of, it sounds like such a sort of cliche thing to say, but it was a very bonding experience for all of us to be thrown right into the deep end, shocked into, action by Roman suddenly saying, okay, go away this weekend and learn the whole thing, but I love that. I mean, it's, this job it's such a gift, but when it becomes even more of a challenge than you could ever have anticipated it might be, it's just so fun to have to rise to that challenge, and to be with these actors who, John and Jodie and Christoph, who are so accomplished and so brilliant at what they do, to feel the desire to, to all hold hands and match each other's ability is, it's really wonderful. And I have to say as well that we've been very fortunate that we all really get along great. Like, we all sort of just love each other. So that's been great. I mean, if one of us had been in any way, tricky, it would have been another story, I think. Well, I think, it's I mean, there's no handbook, there's no guidebook to how to act, how to, be funny, sad, so you have to rely on the writing, I think, with a piece like this, because the comedy is in the writing, it's in the story, and it's within the framework of how the piece is set up. And I think acknowledging the fact that it's a satire, yes, that's important to do, and we've all been able to do that. But you can't play these moments and try and make them funny. You have to sort of play the sincerity of the moment, or the lunacy of the moment, or just how ridiculous the entire situation is. Sometimes it's funny in and of itself. So it's about knowing, it's about knowing when to do something that might actually be amusing on camera, or when to just rely on the circumstances to be the thing that is humorous. But I've learned so much about that, because I have done some comedy before, but not that much. And it's, you learn these things as you go, and kind of hope for the best a little bit, and hope that you are doing something that is, sincere and funny. Throughout this piece, we hear all of these characters use really aggressive, robust words as either weapons or ways of explaining their own emotions or their perception of what someone else is thinking. And and there are reactions to that, and none of them take responsibility for the words that come out of their mouths at all. And that's one of the reasons why it unravels in the way that it does. No one takes responsibility for anything that they say. And, life can't be like that, because then look what happens. I mean, that's why it becomes this thing that it does. And that's all, again, been brilliantly written into the screenplay, is this sense of no one taking responsibility, no one atoning for anything, no one apologizing. I think the only person who says sorry is Nancy. She says, I'm sorry, Doodle. I'm sorry, Doodle. She says it to Alan when she's just apologizing for completely ruining his life because she drowned his telephone in the vase of tulips.